Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my guide for the pursuit races. In this guide I'll be showing you the fastest ways of how you should do these pursuit races in order to complete them faster and also earn more rep. With that said, if you have not seen my rep guide just yet, make sure to check that out in the eye in the top right of your screen for a full guide on all the details of how you can earn rep, what the fastest way is, as well as the rank requirements. I should also mention that throughout the section where we're just going to be following the road or taking a straight line like we are doing now, I will be speeding up the footage a little bit so we waste as little time as possible. In case you are wondering what vehicle we are using within the footage, this is the Coleco GTF. Arguably the best choice at the time of recording this video because it has a lot of acceleration and because crashes are pretty likely to happen within this race either due to cops or, well, other fellow players not knowing how to drive. You can obviously then accelerate very quickly back to your top speed so you can go back to trying to win the race again. Having said this, the Coleco is a car with a lot of understeer, which in plain English means that it is pretty difficult to take corners at a higher type of speed. Which also means that if you're unlucky like myself there, you do a 360. But luckily, thanks to the acceleration of the Coleco, I'm back up to speed relatively quickly. It does mean that you have to take the corners potentially a little bit wider or in a slower manner in order to take them smoothly. Obviously this is simply going to come down to some practice and getting used to the cars as well as the tracks, so practice and time does make perfect. So while I was rambling on, we have finished the first race, which is the real education, which will then mean that we can move on to the next race, which is get trucked. Moving on to get trucked, where we'll be doing nothing but following the highway for the first minute or so, because that is interesting to do. So we're just gonna keep rambling on for a little bit until the footage does bring us to the most interesting part, which is where the exit is right over here. We'll be taking a straight essentially across the curbs there to make sure that we also cross Simeon's place, maybe even give him a little wave, and then we take a right after we pass the construction site. Some more straight line action coming up as we make our way all the way to the back, but make sure to stay in the middle of the road so you can avoid the cops that are trying to block your way. When we're on this hill, take a left here, we'll be taking some more straight lines. Until we reach the right that we're going to be taking right over here. When we're up to this hill in front of Tequila La, take an immediate left and make sure to be in front of the cars that are trying to block your way. And then it's time for some more following the road, like you do, and not bashing into any police officers that might be in your way. After following that road for a little while, you want to be taking a left and go in front of the cops to save yourself a bit of time. If you want to be safer, you can obviously also go around them, but just make sure you don't hit the pole like I did, because that will cost you a lot of speed. Going past the Bahama Mamas, and at the end of that road, we'll be taking another left and then straight until we get to the point where it's time to take another right corner, because they do tend to happen in these pursuit races, even though you try to avoid them. Take the right here and another immediate left so you can start going for the last, but certainly not least, straight line before you take the final right corner and then across the finish line and moving on to the next one. Which is good bad. Now the nice thing about good bad is that as soon as you start the race, you can take an immediate ride on the highway. That way you will avoid literally everyone that is going to try to cross the bridge and also ram into each other. Very nice indeed. Make your way to the exit and take an immediate right, where you'll be doing a bit of straight line action until we reach the following point over here. There we will be crossing to the other side of the road to make sure that we can take the nice line after we're taking this left over here after we pass the Live Invader building. After we've done that, we want to of course avoid bashing into that wall over there and then taking a right and then keep going straight because the game wants you to go past the movie studio, but we're not going to do that because that would be too obvious. Of course, then it's time for some more straight lining until we get to the right over here, and then in front of the burger shot we want to go and take a left. This is a point where it gets a little bit dangerous, so try to make sure to land your car correctly and all 4 wheels to make sure that you don't start doing things that you don't want your car to do. I had a bit of a rough landing, so I spun out there, but it's kind of to my benefit considering the fact that you definitely want to make sure that whenever you take the last bump, you want to use your brakes for a little bit and slow down your car enough so you don't completely overshoot the corner. Then it's time to cross the parking lot over here and then take a straight pass to the gas station here, and obviously make sure that you don't bash into it because that will be pretty deadly, and death does hurt quite badly. After that, we want to be making sure to keep following the road until effectively the finish line, where we're finishing the race yet again. Pretty simple stuff. Moving on to its terminal. This one we're going to be starting out by making sure that we don't hit any Germans along our way, and then try to cross the terminal by going as much straight as we possibly can. There's another way how we can approach this by taking the thing that Smash was trying to do there, by taking a little dirt road onto the main road. Unfortunately, he decided to crash into a pole instead. It is what it is. After we pass the terminal section and across the bridge, we want to take this right and then take an immediate left again so we can go and do a bit of straight lining. Straight lining even a word? I don't know. I just came up with it. It might make sense. I don't actually speak English. I just make shit up and I go. Anyways, let's take a left over here in front of the cop car so you avoid bashing into them, because there doesn't seem to be any other way than that to avoid them. And then it's time to do some more crossing of bridges by going to the left over here. Once you are past the bridge, you want to make your way towards the hospital, and then after the hospital, you want to take a right. Then keep following that road until you bash into this pole. Wait, you're not actually supposed to do that. Avoid the pole, and then also make your way towards Legion Square. There's another way how you can take the left before that, but personally, I thought this was a nicer way. Obviously, stay in the middle of the road so you avoid those cops that are trying to stop you in your way. When you're at Vinewood, take this left over here, and then it's time for some even more straight lines. You might be thinking, damn, that's a lot of speeding up happening in this video, and you're right. Now take a left in front of this red building here, which is pretty recognizable. If you've ever been to Amsterdam, you probably recognize those red lights. I don't judge, I'm just saying, they're there. At this point of the video, I'm just cracking jokes to try to make up time and make it more interesting than me saying, go left, go right, go through the middle. Then it's time to go past the Live Invader again, take a left and follow the route once again, and then take a right to get into the movie studio, which is kind of ironic because we tried to avoid them in the last race, but those are details we're not going to discuss, of course. Then make your way towards the pier and then try to avoid the cars and the wall on the left there, and then we're going to just simply cross the pier and then cross the section where we're taking a very large jump into the water, which would mean that your car would get destroyed, but Morse Mutual Insurance is there always to help you out in your times of need. Speaking of times of need, it's time for some industrial action. As soon as you start the race, take yourself an immediate left here and then take an immediate right as soon as you see some train tracks. Of course, this is the point where we're going to be doing one of the cooler things inside of the pursuit races, which is by keep going straight until you suddenly run out of road, which means that we're going to be landing ourselves inside of the sewers. Oh yes, we're doing that type of stuff. Take a quick 360, or better yet, try to avoid doing a 360, and then keep following the sewers until somewhere near the end. We want to of course cross the river once again to make sure to be on the right side of the road. And if you're lucky enough at the start, of course, you can also decide to stay immediately on the left side of the sewers to avoid slowing down in the water. Then we want to get up to this hill and try to avoid Smash Crash blocking our way. It might not actually be in your race, but those are just details we shouldn't mention. cross the park over here or take the route that Smash is taking there by going straight and then the left. In terms of speed, Smash's line was probably a little bit quicker, but it kind of does depend on where you land with the car after you take that shortcut that we just took. Then it's time to pass the pack standard there by going right across it, and then an immediate left past the nightclub there. Then it's some more following of the road by going straight and downhill. When you're going downhill, you're obviously going to have some air zones, so try to make sure that you always land your car on all four wheels in order to avoid spinning out. When you're down at the hill, take the right, and then in front of the gentleman's nightclub, if you will, we will be taking a left and then following that until we hit the next checkpoint. Then we take a left, again try to avoid the cops by just going through the middle of the road, and then it's time to cross the bridge, and then basically keep following this road until you take the next left and then to the pier. Pretty straightforward from here on out. The next pursuit rate is going to be grooving, where we're not only going to be grooving, we're also going to be driving a race. As you can tell, I'm running out of things to say. Having said this, of course, we're going to be taking the right across the bridge, but instead of taking a left, we're going to go taking a straight and then afterwards taking a left. Because that way we'll be carrying more straight line speed throughout the entire race, which is good because I like speed, just like Jeremy Clarkson. Having said this, we want to keep going until we reach the next checkpoint and then take the ride that we have to take because, you know, the game tells us to. And sometimes we do like to listen to our video game because it tells us useful information that we can use to our advantage. Speaking of things and using them to advantage, you can decide to take either the train tracks or the main road, whatever you decide. The train tracks might be a little bit slower, but you will have less cops on you, so that might be beneficial. If you're taking the train tracks, obviously you want to take the same right as we are taking here, and then the immediate left, and then the immediate right. It's like zigzag, but slightly different. After the gas station, or petrol station if you're from the UK, then we're taking a left and then following this route until we reach the scrapyard over here. Try not to pull the smash crash by crashing your car into a pole, and then avoid smash crash if he is in your way. Then follow this road, and yes, before you ask, I am aware of the fact that there is a very big jump that you can also take by going to the right instead of going to the left and cross Grove Street. However, it is a bit of a risk to take this one, considering the fact that I've seen multiple people blown up by this ramp, so if you want to have a bit of a safer route, this is probably the way to go. If you want to have a faster route during this section, then you can cross through this alleyway, where instead of taking a left and a right and another left, instead you only be taking one left and you'd go straight to the highway yet again, thus having more speed. Comes down to personal preference. Sometimes these routes are a little bit situational, to be honest, considering the fact that with 16 players you might have to take a bit of a improvisational route rather than the one to always take. Time to go across the highway and go through all the cops and the blockades that are in here. Obviously you're going to be spending some time to slow down the footage just a little bit and not go too fast, so you can have a good thing of what to say. Like what just happened over here, because for some reason the cop decided to bash me and I couldn't really do the thing that I wanted to do, which is by going either on the left side or through the middle. This is one of those situations where you will have to make a choice and be quick about it, or else you're going to start crashing. Luckily that didn't happen here, so you could take this right. One thing that is very important to have within these pursuit races is bulletproof tires. Now I know they're called bulletproof tires, but they will also prevent you from getting hurt by those spikes that those police vans will roll out whenever you get 3 stars or more. The main reason why you want to have these bulletproof tires is because if you don't, all your tires will get popped, you'll start spinning around and your car will become uncontrollable, thus losing you a lot of time. Moving on to join the club, which is the final pursuit race within this video, and before you ask, yes, you're going to be seeing some very familiar sights yet again, because for some reason we'll be driving the same kind of sections of road an awful lot of times. Bit of a shame that there's no real races inside of Blaine County, because it would have been kind of cool to have some mixes going on rather than only the city. Though it makes sense because a lot of them are surrounded around the Ellis Carmine area, but still, some more variety would have been nice. Maybe in the future they'll add more, or maybe they won't, time will tell. Having said this, as you can see on the screen, we're just taking a lot of straight line and following the road again until we're going to reach the following point, which is over here, where we'll be taking a left and an immediate right. Then we cross the bridge above the highway, and then we'll be taking an immediate right over here at the Rockford Hills. Then we pass the Pay and Spray there, or West Coast Customs, because I can't stop saying Pay and Spray, even though the game has been out for 8 years. Go a straight line here up to the hill, all the way up to the top there, until we reach the Vinewood section. We'll be taking a right in front of this billboard with some women's underwear for some bizarre reason, other than the fact that it's Rockstar, so we're just gonna learn and live with it. Cross Vinewood's gonna keep on going straight until we're taking the left up until the hill here, which of course is not the optimal way of going into that hill section, but Rockstar was like, yeah, we'll just place the checkpoint there instead of the logical way, so you can take an additional corner and feel like you're actually doing a race. To the right up the hill here, and then we're gonna doing something actually kind of crazy. We're actually going to go off-road. Now I know this might come to a shock to a few of you, considering the fact that all you've seen thus far is asphalt. But luckily for you, we'll even be going up to a hill as well to make it even more interesting. And then we're going to be going all the way to the top to the Vinewood sign, and make sure that we go in between the N and the E. Right, that's enough of me rambling on about irrelevant stuff as you are watching a route on a video game how you complete a race faster. I want to thank you all very much for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed or found it useful. Subscribe for more, and if you really like what you see on the channel, consider becoming a member. Like Chloe, Robert, Alus Fire, Captain Price, Shakulu, and Dr. Strangelove. Join them and all other fellow members by clicking the join button down below. Thank you again for watching, and I'll see you all later.